We just covered some broad applications for ChatGPT and generative AI, but let's look at some more specific use cases for folks who work with data in their day-to-day jobs. Starting with automation, this can mean a lot of different things depending on your job, but for me, there's some low-hanging fruit that comes to mind, things like formulas and exact syntax of your code. For example, in Microsoft Excel, I vaguely recall how to use the VLOOKUP function, but I can never quite remember the syntax, so I could ask ChatGPT to write an Excel formula that looks up values in column A that match values in column B. And here I get the VLOOKUP, along with an explanation for how this works and what parameters go where. Regular expressions or regexes are also super tedious to me. I can never remember them. So we could get some help with that. Write a regex that fits a US phone number. Here we get the regex. We could copy that code into our code and then an explanation of how this works. Content creation is another area where you could use ChatGPT. We've seen some of this already with the blog posts and such, but in day-to-day life, maybe it's something like an email. So write an email to my boss that asks for feedback on a deck I created. The deck is just a draft and was created based on notes from last week's meeting. Use a relaxed tone and include a joke. Let's see what we get here. Okay, here's our email. We've got a subject line, describes that we're looking for feedback on the deck from last week's meeting, and we even have a joke in here about salad dressing. So obviously something you would want to update to match your own tone, but if you don't like writing emails, this might be a good accelerator for you. Another way to use this is to write code, all kinds of code. We're going to go back to an example we were using earlier. I've got it in a different chat though, so we'll have it regenerate a sample data set for us, and then ask to write a Python script to analyze the data, remove outliers, and then visualize the sales price using a histogram. Okay, here's our data set. You'll see the format it's given us is CSS. We might actually want this in a CSV format or something. We saw how we could refine that earlier. But then down here is the sample Python script, complete with code comments and everything to read in the data, calculate things like the mean and the standard deviation of the sales price, remove outliers, and then visualize using a histogram. So you could grab this code, copy it, put it into your own code base, modify it, run it, whatever you need to do. So again, a really nice starting point. You also get a description down here of what's happening. That was Python. You can also use this for things like SQL statements. So we'll say, write a SQL statement to select these columns from the customers table, and then order by last name and then first name. And here's our SQL statement. And then the fourth use case is around your daily workflows. That again could mean many different things, but maybe you spend a lot of time trying to figure out other people's code or how to refactor code to make it better. Let's see if ChatGPT can help with that. Let's say you've taken over somebody else's code and you want a brief summary of what it does. So we're going to say, what does this code do? We'll paste in the code. And here we go. This code is a Python script that creates a Lambda function in Amazon Web Services using the Boto3 library. It goes through the various lines, tells us what's happening here, and how it would be triggered. Now, let's say you wanted to make the code better, or refactor it to make it more readable and concise. You also wanted to add some code comments. And voila, here's the refactored version. We've got some code comments saying it's more readable and concise. This particular example didn't have a ton of updates to it, but you can imagine if you had some really bloated spaghetti code, that kind of thing, ChatGPT could have a go at it and hopefully improve things for you. And then finally, as part of your daily workflow, maybe you're trying to decide between different technologies or different approaches. So let's ask about popular technologies for exploratory data analysis, get some pros and cons and some examples of how I might use them. Okay, we get two options here. One is pandas. We've got pros and cons for that. Second one is matplotlib, pros and cons there, and then some examples of what you can do with them. So hopefully with just this short demo, you realize just how powerful this is and all the different ways you could use it in your day-to-day job. It's really pretty amazing. In summary, while ChatGPT can be used for a lot of fun and kind of trivial things, it also has very real practical applications out there in the world, and especially for technology jobs, whether it's writing code or automating tedious processes. So use it to get answers, to get you started, or or to validate something that you're already thinking about. And with that, let's wrap up and talk about a few things that you can do next. First, I would say just go try it. You probably already have tons of ideas for how you could use ChatGPT, so just go give it a try. You can learn a lot just by using different prompts and seeing what kinds of answers you get. This is a very fast-moving and exciting space that will likely change quickly. So keep an eye on the blog at openai.com for the latest announcements and features. And then let me know how things are going. Go to the discussion tab for this course, drop me a note about all the cool things that you're learning, and also please let me know how I did on the course by giving it a rating. And with that, I'll say thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it helpful, and I wish you all the best in your ChatGPT and AI adventures.